Hello, everyone. This is your moderator today, Andreas Pop Culture Guy from the Andreas Pop Culture Guy channel presents. Long title, sorry. But we're here today for another spectacular DC animation review. Thank goodness. This one is a really good one. We got Justice League, Gods and Monsters, the recap discussion. Of course, this is the latest, what was last night? The 24th movie we're reviewing. And this is a Elseworld story, so that's going to be very exciting to talk about that. Of course, I'm with my two best co-hosts here. Of course, Jeff as TrueKnowledge, the co-host of MCU Bleeding Edge. And then you got Cyber here as well, the co-host as well, but also his own channel, the great channel, Cyberneticshark. Please check that out. It's really great. How you guys doing today, by the way?
Really good.
Awesome.
I'm good. Good.
Awesome.
Pretty decent.
Yeah. Today was Good Wednesday. I just a random thing. I rewatched FF First Steps. Still good. I love it. Very sad that it's not doing well in the box office, but hopefully it will, hopefully it'll reach the mark in the right way. But so anyway, so let's get into Gods and Monsters. So anyone who doesn't know this is the 24th film of the DC universe, which movies. It's a alternate universe version of the Justice League. So this is not the main continuity. So it's basically what if for Justice League or Elseworlds, I say, where we're telling a new and unique storyline for the three main Justice League. We don't have the full Justice League. It's just, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. We're focusing on them, and then a bunch of related DC characters that we know. And I will point out who were the characters that they brought up. I mean, some of them were obvious, and then there's some that very obscure. I was like, oh, they did that character. So anyway, of course, it's directed by Sam Liu, screenplay by the DCAU veteran Alan Burnett, a great writer. He has done really great stuff in the DCAU animation universe for the TV stuff. Like he did the Two-Face parter in Batman animated series, so he's a really good writer. And this is a story by him and with Bruce Timm. Of course, Bruce Timm comes back and he does the animation here, and my God, this is a great animation movie. And just the cast, I'll just list the three main ones: Benjamin Bratt, Michael C. Hall, and Tamara Taylor. Those are the three voices that are voicing our main trio, or Trinity, as DC calls them, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. So anyway, so I'm gonna go round table.
Wonder Woman was voiced by a man?
No, a lady, sir. It's just the name is like a manly name. I don't know. So you could think it's a boy, but it's not. It's a lady. Okay, it's a lady, folks.
Got you.
All right. So, she's from the Bones show. If you've seen Bones, it's a good, crime show.
Oh yeah, I know that. I know who that is.
Yeah, and then Michael C. Hall is Dexter, and of course 6 Feet Under, and then Benjamin Bratt. This guy is he was in Demolition Man, and of course he was in Law and Order, stuff like that. And he was recently in Endor season 2. He played.
That's right. He was what's his name? Bail Organa.
Bail Organa. Thank you. I was like, who was he last season? Yeah, so we recently saw him. So yeah, that's their pedigree of film stuff and TV. So Jeff, let me go to you first and kind of give your overall opinion about this film. Did you heard of this film before you saw this film? This is your first time watching it. Just tell me.
No, I never heard nothing. I don't know anybody that I don't really besides you guys, I don't really know anybody that would ever tip me off really about DC animated films, you know what I'm saying? So I never really have any idea what I'm getting into until I watch. Obviously you when you pull the movie up on on TV, you see the trailer play and everything, for a minute, you know what I mean, and all that, so you kind of get a sense of what the movie's about, kind of right off the bat when you see that trailer play, and you see the thumbnail too, so you kind of can kind of derive an idea of what's going on with the thumbnail. I didn't really know what to make of this movie, when I saw the thumbnail, I saw the characters, I'm like, who the fuck is that? I thought it was possible that they were doing another Justice League film with that alternate Earth, Justice League.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? The villains or whatever, like those characters from that one film that they had, with alternate Earth characters, and all that. They had that one film, or was it one film or two films? I can't remember when we saw those characters, but either way,
one film. It was one film. Crisis, 2 Earth.
Yeah, Crisis. Yeah. So I thought maybe that's what was going on. I wasn't sure what the deal was. I saw the trailer. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this shit? I couldn't even really tell if Superman was even in it or not. And then I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say too much about it because I want to wait until we break the film down. It's really good. I was really surprised. It turned out to be like totally not what I expected at all from for the film to what it ended up being. It was totally different than what I thought. Like the concept of it was totally different than what I initially thought what I was going to watch. It's like a very very well contained. Like really, like good story driven, film that's very short, minutes wise, but packs a punch, for that, whatever, 75 minutes or whatever that you watch it, like it's good, and from start to finish, it's good. It's really good film. I really wasn't sure what to expect after Batman versus Robin. I really didn't know, I knew it was a Justice League film. So, coming off of like the most recent Justice League film that we did, recently, I just assumed it was going to be our typical Justice League, DC animated film, with normal Batman, and Robin and, Wonder Woman, I mean, and Superman, so I really loved the whole whatever you want to call it, like parallel, Earth, multiverse kind of deal they did, totally changing the characters up, do the different Justice League and it really well done, and this movie came out in 2015, which is not that long ago, when you think about it, right? So it's like surprising that, I was kind of surprised that it came out in 2015, but I realized I knew we were around there in like, that's the area we were kind of at, in terms of release, schedule and stuff like that based off of the years from the last couple films we did, So I was just really surprised by how good this was. And, I really enjoyed watching it. It was really enjoyable, very watchable, very entertaining film.
Yeah, no, I agree. So the last film that we did with it's called the Crime Syndicate. That's the group that were the evil Justice League. So everyone wants to know that was the movie that we saw called Crisis on 2 Earths. A great film that we review. Of course, it was the last time I think Dwayne McDuffie wrote a DCU project, which was sad. But he wrote a really great film. But anyway, Cyber, your thoughts on the film? Is it your first time or second time? Or tell me, what's your experience about this film, sir?
So, I've seen this movie before. I probably watched it, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, when I was doing my first DC animated watch. The name pulled me in, Gods and Monsters. Out of all the names, I was just like, hey, that seems interesting. I should check that out. So I checked it out, and I think that overall this is a very fun film. I think that the whole thought process of it is really interesting too. Having it where Batman's actually like a bat. We have Superman, who is, freaking basically like Zod, and not sure of who he really is because his everything's been hidden from him, and so he's kind of like an orphan, super orphan. You know what I mean? So how they take him to a whole different level. Then we have this Becky chick who is supposed to be Wonder Woman, who is completely different from Diana Prince. and she's more of this other god type of character that has this other upbringing, had a father, wasn't just among all women and stuff like that. So they're very much go for that gods and monsters vibe with this, and I think that was different. I think that was fun and gave it something different and interesting. And so I think that it was very entertaining. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think from beginning to end, it's really action packed. I mean, it's pretty bloody. It's got really good action in it. I mean, it's got, the animation isn't too bad. And, you have a really solid Lex Luthor in it. You have, solid characters that, you're familiar with that are altered in kind of like what you were saying, kind of like the Elseworlds type of deal. This is very much like that. It's almost like the multiverse in Marvel. So, it's a very different type of, version of the Justice League, but still it's the Justice League. And I think that was really fun and original. And I think overall it's a decent film. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it for the second time. I think it was only my second time. And I thought it was just as good as the first time I saw it.
Yeah. This is my, so I heard of this film. It was weird. So they actually released 3 short films that was like leading up to this film. So when I was a young kid during 2015, because this was collaborating with Cartoon Network and the old site, this like website called Machete. That was like that famous website that was popular back then in the internet, but then got shut down. And I remember these because I heard that Bruce Timm was coming back to DC. He was going to do this new film called, Gods and Monsters, and he released these like 3 short films where we saw like, these alternate versions of these characters. Like the first, I remember clearly the Superman one where he was the son of, Zod and not Jor-El, and like he had to kill this like baby Brainiac that was attacking Metropolis. He had to like work with the president that was President Waller, Amanda Waller. And then the second one was Batman, and that was like a horror movie. I was like, whoa. He was like after Harley Quinn, who is a serial killer in that short, and I was like, whoa. And they revealed that he was like a vampire, and I think that short it confirmed it was Dr. Kurt Langstrom, who is Man-Bat, by the way, folks. This is Man-Bat, but he's actually Batman, which is a really cool idea. And and obviously Wonder Woman is a New Gods. If anyone knows, that's the New Gods. That's something we saw in the Snyderverse, and she was with the other side that was the good guys, and then the bad guys were usually Darkseid and his people in Apocalypse. And you saw his son, who is Orion, but in the original continuity, he was actually given over to the good guys because to exchange a peace treaty where the bad guys got the Caliban, the big beastie kind of creature that is the stepson for Darkseid. And so it was really cool idea to give Wonder Woman to be a new god. That makes a lot of sense. Like, besides like either make her a Norse god or I don't know, whatever type of god you want to make her, like it made sense to give her a new god origin story, and that was really cool. And her short was cool too, because after that she makes love with Steve Trevor in that short, I remember. So it was fun to when I saw the listing, I was like, oh, Gods and Monsters, I really wanted to see that. And it was this is the best movie we have review. I think this is the best movie. I think it's way better than the Justice League Dawn of the Lanterns. It's way better than last week. Was it Batman versus Robin? I have to say because the action was great. The voice acting is way better than those 2 movies. I'm sorry. Like when you get Michael C. Hall, Dexter, and voicing Batman, that's a really cool idea. That is the best Batman voice I heard in a while. And I like this version of Superman. This is like the Injustice Superman, but way better, I have to say. But we'll get into that. And I like this Wonder Woman. I think we should see more of this kind of Wonder Woman version, but we'll see. So I thought that it was a great film. I think it's better than the last 2 movies we review. I think I'm very excited to talk about this film. So let's get into it. So from the beginning of this film, I want to get this out of the way because I'm just going to follow the Wikipedia. Unfortunately, they don't bring this up. it was cool in the film. Every time we meet our hero, they were going to give us the origin story of each of our characters. So like the beginning, we get, you know, the typical Superman origin. Like it's the same thing, but the difference is like Men of Steel. Remember in Man of Steel, from Jor-El and Zod, except for Superman, they were genetically what we say genetically built in the laboratory. They were not naturally born as like, you know, as us. So they were like, you know, genetically created in like this chamber, like that was similar to like the Matrix, if I can make it more clear. And so the purpose in the beginning was Laura and what's the father's name? Jor-El were supposed to get their DNA. Now Jor-El almost did it, but then Zod shot his hand, and like he, you know, last minute pushed his DNA into Kal. So now Kal is actually the son of Zod. So he's more Zod than Jor-El. So that was a really cool, twisty way. So we see the rocket goes to Earth as usual. We see Lex Luthor. That's actually a very unique thing. Lex Luthor gets the ship of the Kryptonian, and then instead of the Kents, we got this like random, let's say Mexican kind of couple, you know, like immigrants that take over.
Immigrants, bro.
I mean, I don't know what to say. Like they were really under their nose, Jeff. It was like, yeah, they're like immigrant, you know, like you know, Mexican people and something like that. And I mean, like you look at Zod, like you look at this version of Super, he looks like Latino. You know, he looks like me, maybe, but I don't know. So that's the beginning of the movie. So, and then after that, you know, we get into the alternate universe. We see the Justice League, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, being this like brutal force. Like they're like Task Force X. So Suicide Squad meets X Force basically, and like they don't care about like the no rule kill. Like they kill people. Like we saw like this whole opening. It's like Batman snap. I mean, you know, Batman breaks someone's neck. Wonder Woman stabs people in their like, you know, the torso, like cutting in and out, like Game of Thrones, basically. You like just limbs out, and then Superman just, you know, not being Superman, is just doing like General Zod stuff of like just, yeah, pushing through those, you know, terrorists. And I guess these three villains are, I guess, Suicide Squad villains, or I mean, villains from the DC stuff, like Bronze Tiger. It was there, and then I guess that lady that was shooting the electricity thing against Superman was, I guess, Killer Frost, I don't know, or Lightwire, but whatever. And Blockbuster, that's the big tough guy. And so they subdued him. They got the, you know, this flash drive that Waller wants it back, you know. So that's what happened. And then after that, we get a couple of you know, stuff like they have mixed public relationship. Like here we see Steve Trevor talking to them, and after that we get a couple of like scientists from the DC universe. So first off, Victor Freeze, who's, you know, Mr. Freeze, gets killed by this like mysterious creature. We don't know what. It bites him, and like somewhat similar to Batman, as we saw in the beginning. And then we got the two how you say the Adams, Ray Palmer, and his other Adam, Ryan Tro. They get attacked by these other mysterious robots. We don't know what they are, but they have, you know, they can make their things almost like Terminator 2. The T was it the T1? Not T1. What do you call it? I forgot the name, but you know, the Robert Patrick character that can liquidly form weapons. So they attack that, and then Silas Stone, Victor's father, is here. He and along with his son Victor were killed by these machines, and one of the things that's really note I brought up before with Freeze, each of the Memphis is similar to the Justice League. One had the bite, one has the sword, and then one has the, like, you know, obviously the laser for Superman. So, and then that's where let me stop right there. So Cyber, what do you thought about this beginning of seeing the origin story of Superman up to like the killing of these scientists? Go ahead.
All right, beginning to the killing of the scientist.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I mean, the movie starts off interesting. You know, we get that kind of origin story to Superman. We get that very Jor-El thing. We get that very much Zod thing. Seeing Superman a completely different light. We get, of course, baby Superman we see, which he's like in vitro at this point for some odd reason, which was kind of weird. And he still has an umbilical cord attached to him. I was kind of like, what the fuck am I watching? And so I was like, what are we watching? Fantastic Four First Steps? I'm like, not only do they have to give birth in Fantastic Four First Steps, they got to show it inside the womb too. So it's like I was kind of watching this going, I'm like, okay, this is an interesting way to start off Superman's story. Okay. But I think it's very solid still. I think it's some action packed, gives you kind of an idea of kind of the Elseworld version of this story that's going on. We get the credits, of course, that shows baby Superman flying to Earth, and he, lands on Earth, and they find him, of course. And then, of course, as we go on, we're introduced to the rest of the team, Wonder Woman and Batman, and we're given their versions, basically. We see them kind of go do some action. They take things down differently than the regular Justice League that we're familiar with. We see that they're definitely different and that they do things different. We see a lot of great action. I feel in this beginning sequences that are pretty, kick-ass. And I think that overall, I think it works well because it's nice to see something a little different of the Justice League versus what we've seen in the past few of these DC animated films, where they were pretty, they weren't really Justice League eccentric. They really were set on one person and they just happened to be in the background. Whereas this actually felt like Justice League movie. So we got each of their stories. Each of them are a part of the whole scene, the whole, scenario. And I think that was one thing I really appreciated at the beginning, is that it gives you ample time to understand, kind of what they're about as a group. That they are the Justice League, that they're in this, Elseworld, this multiverse area, and that, they're taking care of business. And the fact that, Superman's a lot different than our normal Superman, it's kind of funny because definitely that pushes more towards him being Zod's son. And, giving you that different thing, but still him at the same time, he still has that very Superman thinking process to him, but still he does it a little differently than our normal Superman we're familiar with. So I think that how it begins is very interesting, leading up to your endpoint, sir, with the killing of the doctors and kind of the setup for them being framed for killing people. I mean, that whole action sequence was really stellar. I thought, them trying to take him out and all that kind of stuff, and the vampire biting him and all this kind of stuff, and seeing Dr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze, as to say, in action too, and seeing his version of Mr. Freeze was definitely very different than the Mr. Freeze we're used to. And so seeing him kind of like more like a super genius level normal life version of Mr. Freeze is kind of funny. It was kind of different and made it very unique. So I think it's a really strong, stellar beginning. I think it's got a lot of great action, and I think that the story is very interesting, and overall, I think it really does a good job of starting the film off.
Thank you, Cyber. Jeff, your turn. What you thought about the beginning up to the scientist getting killed, sir? That's the end point.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that we see the X-Force in X-Men 97, season 2, or whatever, or X-Men 98, or whatever the fuck it's going to be called.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be there's no X-Men. Remember from the last season?
Yeah.
There's got to be a team so we can get the X-Force potentially, because Cable's still there, so we could potentially get the X-Force. I just wanted to point that out. I love the X-Force. You mentioned the X-Force and Suicide Squad. I fucking love X-Force, especially with Cable. from the comics, that X-Force, you know, with Cannonball and Boom Boom and, you know, Domino and all that shit, you know?
Yeah.
You know, back when they used to fuck with Deadpool and shit like that back in the day. Like, that's when cable used to fuck with Deadpool and shit, you know? When that Deadpool first came out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, the whole thing with, like, you know, Superman, like, getting raised by illegal immigrants was, like, funny as shit when I saw it. I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, seriously? You're really gonna do that with fucking Superman? But, like, it works. Like, it's okay, you know? Like, they do it, and then, like, you know, it's okay. Like, he just ends up being, like, you know, this really dark, you know, Superman that, like, kills and shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, you know, it's, obviously, like, it's totally cool to see the Justice League you know, performing an adaptation of themselves where they kill, you know, like they're like, you know, the enemy and stuff like that, you know, like I'm totally down for that, you know, like that's awesome. I love that aspect of like what they do in this movie, you know. I like the fact that they're violent. You know, they're like the extremes of like you know, of like their actual character, you know, in a way. So it's interesting, you know, to see that, right? I think like the whole Batman like as an actual fucking Batman or whatever, you know, like I mean, that's obviously like a copy of Morbius, you know, like that's all that is. You know what I'm saying? He even looks like Morbius, you know, like kind of, you know what I mean? You know, like
What about Blade? Wait, Blade is another vampire. Why Morbius?
because he kind of looks like Morbius a little bit.
True.
Still,
Yeah.
you know? So I mean, you know, I'm just saying he does. You know, like you could very easily say that's Morbius, you know, and like you could make that work. So I'm just saying, like, you know, so it's just not like it's a ripoff of Morbius in a way, but it works. It's cool, you know. I like it. You know, no gadgets, just like, you know, killing and fucking, you know, biting people and shit and drinking their blood and, you know, fucking throwing people up against walls and shit, breaking their fucking backs and all that kind of shit. That's all cool with me. I'm good with that. You know, like that's all cool. Seeing Wonder Woman stabbing motherfuckers with her sword and shit like that and cutting motherfuckers down. I know that was really cool. You talked about her backstory. It is very interesting. The whole New Gods, you know, deal or whatever they did with her. It is really cool. Yeah, the enemy, you know, of the film, like the villain of the film, those robots or whatever, you know, whatever the fuck they are, those creatures, right? They're fucking cool, man. Like, you know, like, we've seen stuff like that in other stuff. We've seen similar stuff like that, you know, in other content. For what it's worth, those things are actually pretty menacing. Like they're pretty scary, you know, like honestly they are. Like, you know, they're pretty intimidating. You know what I'm saying? Because like they're really strong, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and like, you know, like you can't defend yourself against them, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they're really fast because they've got the boob tube technology or whatever, you know, going on, right? So they're really fast. I love the way that they love the way they use the boob tubes in this version of like you know, like the DC universe, like the boob tube usage by Wonder Woman is really cool. Like they give her that ability, you know. I like that, you know what I'm saying? I like that they can all fly too. Like Wonder Woman and Batman can fly in this film, you know what I'm saying? Not just Superman, you know. Like, you know, and Superman has the ability to make people fly like with his mind or whatever in this movie, you know. Like he can just make people fly, you know, on his own. Like he does that with the other Justice League characters, well, a couple times, you know. He like flies them with him, you know what I'm saying? So like that's cool. I like that ability that he has to do that, you know. They expanded Superman's powers with that, You know what I mean? Because he doesn't do that normally, you know? And he flies differently too. He flies a little bit different in this film than he normally does. You know, he coasts like a lot more. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he kind of floats in the air a lot more.
Yeah, it's not your traditional Superman like doing his arm like that. Yeah, it's very different. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, he flies different. You know, they changed it to where it's different than like normal. You know what I mean? So I dug that. I like that whole concept. You know, I thought that was really interesting. You know, I like the way it looked. I liked this world's version of Lois Lane was cool. You know, I like that. Was that what city was that supposed to be?
Yeah, so mainly yeah, because the movie the main city they're in Metropolis. We know that. And then whatever university that Batman goes to later on, that was in Gotham City. So
oh, okay, they did show. So they showed Gotham and Metropolis. I didn't even realize that.
yeah, like because I mean Kirk comes from Gotham City, and that was the university that him and his friend Will Magnus came from. So yeah. So the main setting they've been in is in Metropolis, and like there was also towards the end when like the army was going to attack the Justice League because of the crimes they were framed. They did say that they were in Metropolis. So
yeah, the tower is in Metropolis.
Yeah, the Watchtower or the Hall of Justice, you usually call it. Though, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, the Hall of Justice, yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yep.
It's whatever.
Metropolis. So well, that's interesting because like normally, I always thought that Gotham and Metropolis were actually pretty far away from each other, and like the fake DC like world, you know, I always thought they were like pretty far away. You know,
sometimes like recently with the new Superman movie, and some continuity they're like close. Like how to explain like Gotham usually take over New York as the stand-in, right? And then I think Metropolis is usually down, like I don't know, like the South or like it somewhat represents Michigan or something like that, if I remember correctly. Like they take over the main cities that we usually have in real world, and then they do that. So like I remember in the new Superman movie just wrapping up, like apparently Gotham is like somewhat like down like New Jersey. So that's what they told us about that new version of Gotham City. So that's all I have to say. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, again, I mean, I love this version of Wonder Woman. She's great. You know, she looks really good. You know, she's animated really well. And she looks hot too. Like she's very hot. You know, this version of Wonder Woman, you know what I'm saying? Like she's a little bit more sleazy looking. You know what I'm saying? Like she's got a little bit more like sleazy look to her, you know, like more slutty, you know, than she normally looks, you know what I'm saying? And then she's got the name change too, you know? And it's a little bit more sexy, you know, and like promiscuous sounding, you know what I mean? Like this version, you know? She has more of like a adult tone to her. You know, seeing I thought it was cool that they did have like you know, some like secondary characters, like they had Victor Stone's dad in there, you know, when the scientists, you know, started getting killed, right? You know, he was working with Superman, you know, so we saw Victor, you know, like that was cool, you know, even though he got killed, right? Those robot adversaries are no joke. They're a really good, like very like, you know, like difficult to like you know beat, you know, like very hard, like, you know, very tough and durable, like, you know, adversaries, you know, that can like fight the Justice League if they want to, you know what I mean? And that's crazy, you know, because like most enemies can't fight the Justice League, you know. So you know, that's cool. I like that.
Thank you, sir. Watch like a cool concept having Wonder Woman's sword to have the boom tube. That was like a cool idea. And of course, Batman flying, like it's nothing new. Like his thing, like is similar to Nightwing because that's how Nightwing flies, and that's what Batman Beyond Terry usually is, like flying that way. So that was a cool way to like rope that into this new version of Batman and this like this Elseworld story movie. So yeah, I really appreciate like the really cool ideas they had to like shape up their characters. And yeah, I agree. Like I love this Wonder Woman. She's hot. I love that they went with redhead. That was cool. So yeah. So
let me just point out, Wonder Woman doesn't actually fly in the movie. I should point that out. She flies with Superman, like that he does, makes her fly. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know, so she doesn't actually have the ability to fly in the film.
yeah, that's
true. With the boom tube, but she doesn't fly.
No, you're right. I was kind of wondering if she fly. Yeah,
no.
I'm not gonna get into it because
no, only with Superman. You know what I'm saying? Like he makes her fly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. But you know, whatever. I mean, they don't know sometimes what they want Wonder Woman to fly or not. We had that discussion with the new Wonder Woman movie or something like that. But anyway, okay, good job, guys. I'm gonna give you guys 100 points. Awesome. Jeff, I love your comment about Wonder Woman being hot. And as always, yeah, she definitely can fit into the Game of Thrones universe. Like, she could be perfect for that. If there was a Wonder Woman in the Game of Thrones universe. Okay, so getting back to the recap, we got President Waller. So another cool idea. You know, if you haven't seen the shorts that I brought up, the president here is Man of Water. Of course, you know her as the director / the person that created Task Force X, aka Suicide Squad. She asked them, like the Justice League, to like cooperate with the government investigation. Meanwhile, Superman invites Lois Lane to the Tower of Justice. That's what they call it here. Okay. Where he tells her of his goals to help humanity, reveals how little he knows about Krypton or his heritage. That's you know, a common thing with Superman. Sometimes he doesn't know too much about his Kryptonian heritage. Sometimes in some versions, like the Lois and Clark version, he barely knows his like heritage until like the new Krypton comes into his world and stuff like that. Anyway, then after that, we get Batman doing his usual stick, you know, doing investigation. Here he goes to like the what we call, I'm gonna say university that Stone was working at, and he sees the email sent to Stone, where several scientists were like being named. Some of the like the prominent scientists from the DC universe, including Batman's friend Will Magnus. This character is a DC character. He's from the Metal Man comic. I'll get into more like what's that about and all that later on the twist. But here we get kind of like the backstory of Batman. Of course, everyone knows. I say before, Kirk Landstrom is Man-Bat. Basically, he's like the Morbius for Batman, but he's the Blade of Batman. But whatever. I'm not gonna acknowledge that he's Morbius. But anyway, so Kirk's best friend is the one that helped him with his transformation because actually, yeah, he is actually Morbius. You actually have a good point because he basically has the same thing with Morbius, where he has this like, what is it? Illness, like this illness.
He has like vampirism, like he has the disease of vampirism or whatever, and it's like killing him.
Yeah, so you know, he just had this illness.
Control it. He has like a bloodlust and shit like that.
Yeah, that's like after the transformation. So we get this like story about him with his friend Will and Tina, right? Tina is the fiance of Will, and she has feelings for Kirk. And we saw in the flashback, and like we see how like these two help him to like transform into Batman. So very good origin story. I like this part here. It was really interesting to see that. And then after that, he goes over to ask Magnus and his wife Tina about the project Fair Play, which involves scientists under Lex Luthor's employment. And then Magnus offers to ask what the others know. So this is where I'm going to wrap up here, where this is where we get to the major one here, where Magnus gathers the remaining scientists here. So I'm going to list down all the scientists here. Steele is here, Jen Harry Einers, Thomas Marone. This one is, T.O. Marone. He's like the creator of the Red Tornado person, Red Tornado, another superhero. Michael Holt. This is Mr. Terrific. If you haven't seen the new Superman movie, that's Mr. Terrific. That's his name, Michael Holt. Pat Duggan. He is the scientist, or he's like the former sidekick of Star Bangle Kid. Hold on, let me get more clear thing. He's like the former person that Stargirl's father. That was a superhero. That is scientist Emil Hampton. That's the local Star Lab scientist that always works for Superman. Then we got Karen Breacher. This one is from the Teen Titans. She's actually Bumblebee for the East Titans group. And then we got Dr. Saban from the Shazam comics. He was briefly there. That's the guy with the bald head. And then we got Dr. Light. That was the Japanese scientist we saw. And then Stephen Shane. That was the scientist that helps Black Manta. We actually saw this doctor from the Justice League Dawn Atlantis that helps find Arthur. And in the live action movies, he was played by Randall Park. So that was the last scientist we saw. So they're all there, asking questions, like they're asking answers for Dr. Magus, what's going on. But, however, they're attacked by the 3 robot assassins we saw here, who travel with the Ubuntu, we know, right? Despite their efforts, the assassins kill all of them. They leave Magnus as the sole survivor attack. Justice League made it there. They stopped the, robots, killing Magnus, but everyone gets killed, including Tina. Her death was like, whoa. And by the way, their death was gruesome. Like, some of them got burned. They got, like, their head, like, stabbed to, like, in the floor, which is crazy. It's like, their death was so brutal. And Batman is even sadder now. Like, he lost his 2 best friends. So let me stop there. So let me get back to you, Jeff. What you thought about the, present, them investigating who's framing them, up to the 3 robots killing all the scientists and the Dr. Magnus being the sole survivor. Go ahead. That's the end point.
Yeah, the whole frame job deal was kind of like an okay aspect of the story that I was like all right with, but like really wasn't like, my biggest like, favorite part, really, at the end of the day, right? I kind of was like all right with it, right? It does work overall, like for the overall story. For the film, the frame job works. It does, like overall, like what it creates, is cool. Is kind of interesting, I guess, but, yeah, I mean, it's, like this Justice League team, doesn't have like, a cyborg, around, you know what I mean? Like, to like, do the stuff the cyborg can do to find people and figure stuff out, and like give you that like science, like high IQ, member of the team, this Batman that we get in this version of like the DC universe, like, isn't like the same true detective sleuth, kind of Batman in this one, so he doesn't have like the Bruce Wayne resources, going at all, because he's not Bruce Wayne, you know what I'm saying? So like he's a totally different kind of Batman. So like he doesn't have the same like information gathering, like knowledge skills, you know what I mean? Like Batman stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, technology, you know what I mean? Like, that Batman would normally have, to where they would figure out what the fuck was going on, you know what I'm saying? And like know what was happening with like the project or whatever, like they would just know, that's one thing about like this version of Justice League where there's just 3 of them. That's kind of a weak Justice League team to only have 3 members, like personally, like, you know what I'm saying? Like for me, they do show, again, they show a lot of like secondary DC characters from the like, from the comics throughout the course of the film, right? You see a lot of different like, like they might not suit up, but you see a lot of like villains and superheroes and stuff like that kind of around. I like the Batman's friend, that girl that gets killed. She's a good character. She's pretty hot too. She looks pretty hot. you mentioned how good the voice acting is. I love the voice acting of Batman in this. He's great. Very, very unique. Same thing with Superman. Very unique. And it works. Wonder Woman is well voiced too. She's good. I think we've seen what's her name do Wonder Woman before, haven't we? What's her name? Emily Deschanel or whatever her name is.
No. It was Rosie. Was it Rose Dawson? She's in the Rose. She hasn't had her own because she's gonna get her own solo Wonder Woman movie later down the road. No, this one is a different one. Different actress.
You said the chick from Bones, right? That's Emily Deschanel or whatever.
Oh yeah. No. Her sister, her older sister, right? That she's the star of Bones. She's in another show.
Oh, the other Deschanel?
Yeah. She's in the Bones show.
Okay.
Yeah. I know.
So Zoe Deschanel was on New Girl and in Elf, and then Emily Deschanel was the one in Bones.
So I was right.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm. You guys can send a vampire fight me. Like, it's all my fault. There's just too many twins. I have to.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Overall, I like the way that they do use Lex Luthor in this film, and in the bit that they do use him, he's good. Yeah. This is a good Lex Luthor film, like a good DC animated Lex Luthor film. Where you end up liking him at the end. Like he's a likable Lex Luthor. Not so much a villain, not so much not at all. You know what I mean? Kind of just there. And I like that. I dig the whole President Waller deal. That's a neat little thing to change. I like that. That's interesting little change up. We are going to get a Waller show eventually. I forgot about that, but we are getting one still. You know what I'm saying? That'll probably be a pretty good show when we finally get that. I would imagine, because we're going to bring back what's her name, Viola Davis or whatever, to play. Waller. Waller. And that's the best version I've ever seen of her. You know what I'm saying? So the only version really, live action. You know what I mean? That we've seen of Waller.
Yeah, and besides, the main Justice League actor, she's the only one that's been recurring the old continuity to the new one. So yeah, she's been the best part.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it, sir.
Yeah. This last question is the Batman origin story. What do you thought about that? The new Batman origin story. It was
it's whatever. It's whatever to me, because again, it's not really Batman. You know what I'm saying? It's Man Bat. That's who is Batman in this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, it's very unusual. I mean, we've seen versions of Batman not being a detective. I mean, like Bale's version is not really got a detective in the Dark Knight trilogy, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
It's kind of vague. They don't even really explain like how he got his condition. You know what I'm saying, and all that. They don't explain that.
Yeah, I wish they explained more of that, and yeah, I kind of agree with you about that part.
And then Magnus or whatever says he did it. That he did it to him later on in the movie.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I'm like I don't know. That one was a little too far. Yeah, I also agree about the framing job. It's okay. I mean, that was probably the weakest part about this film. Is like, why we need to frame them? Whatever. Cyber, your thoughts on pretty much the beginning of Batman investigating the scientist. There we see his origin story for this new version, and then up to the end point where all the scientists get killed by the robot-sized assassin, sir. Go ahead. That's the end
point. All
right. Sorry, sir.
What the hell?
That was interesting. Mystery music. Woo.
I was trying to click on something for the background, and it was an accident. I apologize.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I thought he was gonna give you a great entrance, Cyber. He's like, dun dun dun, Cyber.
All right. So I'm sorry. Refresh me where we're starting and where we're going.
Yeah, sure. The Batman going to his going to Stone's office. There we see his like origin story up to the end point where all the scientists get killed by the robot assassin. Sir, that's
Okay. So of course, Batman doing Batman thing is always fun to watch. And you know he that detectiveness. That's what One thing about DC is it's called Detective Comics, and that's what Batman's all about. He's a detective, so watching him do his detective thing is always fun. His origin story is, I have to agree with Jeff. Very much like Morbius, him trying to find a cure for himself and all that kind of stuff. So I have to completely agree with there. It was definitely like that, which is basically the DC version of Morbius. And I thought definitely that was like totally like Morbius completely. And definitely that whatever ailment he had, they didn't really explain it very well, but at the same time you knew that something was wrong with him, that he was trying to figure out a way to cure himself. And of course, the arrogant friend who is out smart too as well, he's such a dick. You just want to bitch slap him and be like, motherfucker, get out of my way, like you're such a dick. And then he's got the hot girl who wants to be with him, but really wants to be with Morbius. And you're just like, why? And you're like, why do they always go for the bad boy? Why? And so you're just kind of like, oh, okay, So I mean, you get that whole kind of thing. You get to see kind of how he becomes Batman, this version of Batman, this DC version of Morbius. And then of course we go through some more stuff, some more detective work and by them and stuff like that, trying to figure out why they're being framed and all this kind of stuff. And we eventually we get to Batman spying on all the doctors that are still left. And then when he gets there, unfortunately all of them get killed by the robot thing, which the robot things kind of made me think of the uh the big metal guy in Thor 1
Yeah.
that blasts the light out of its eye. It totally made me think of that. And I was kind of
Destroyer.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
Destroyer, thank you. And I was like, that's what they make me think of. But then they also kind of make me think of Brainiac a little bit. And then they also make me think of Freakazoid for some reason a little bit. Uh and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a mixture of several things, but definitely the Destroyer was like the number one thing. Like they're very similar to that. And except they're this nanotechnology versus what Destroyer is. But I think that overall they're a very interesting creature that is being used for evil. And so when he comes in and just starts killing all the people, I was like, holy crap, they're just killing everyone. And I was like, wow, it was actually pretty bloody and lots of great violence and all this kind of stuff. I was like, damn, they went hardcore with this. They went hard PG-13 here. And when Tina gets it through her, I was like, no, not the hot chick. I'm like, no. And I'm like, oh, she could have been with Batman. She could have been with Batman. I was like, oh, and she dies, not with Batman, but with the dick. And then he gets blasted by one of the Destroyer things, and I was like, damn, that hurt. That hurt worse than getting the sword through you. That burn. And then of course, Wonder Woman and Superman show up and start fighting the robots, and that's really badass and cool. But yeah, the one guy getting burned up, you're just like, oh god, that's gotta hurt bad. But yeah, very solid section, lots of great action, great storytelling. It's nice to see these, kind of these flashbacks that give you more perspective on these characters, and it doesn't take away too much from the overall storyline. And I think it's a really solid section.
thank you. Yes. Completely agree. The robots, they remind me of several things. They also remind me of this other DC thing. I was thinking about OMAC, the robots that the Justice League, Batman built during the Justice League like Red Monster run. those Omax we saw in the new Blue Beetle movie that were there. So they remind me of those other robots. But anyway, good job, guys. I'm gonna give you guys 200 points moving forward. All right. Anyway, the League takes Magus to the tower to recover, apparently. And so here, Superman flies to the Luthor satellite. So here we get Luthor. I agree with Jeff. Like, I was surprised that Luthor didn't play a villain role here. He plays more like a good guy role. It's actually a similar role he's going to take in the other Elseworld Superman story called The Red Sun. Really good story. We're gonna definitely view that later on in the review. And it's similar to that, where Lex is not the bad guy. He's pretty much the good guy here. And here, where his satellite is orbiting around the moon, Luthor reveals that the project is the way to destroy the League, if necessary. If they go, rogue and all that, this project, what's this project? God damn it, what's the name? Fair Play is all about. It's basically like the famous Batman contingency plans that we saw in Justice League Doom, where Vandal Savage uses Batman's contingency plans to like take down the Justice League. So that's basically what Luthor did. It's like he built like these these very like hard like weaponized things that can take down the Justice League, as we see later on in the finale. So after he reveals that project, what it's about, he also reveals the truth about Zod to Superman. So he reveals that like his DNA thing, heritage, and as Superman leaves, the satellite, because he gets confirmation from Luthor, they have this like Kryptonian file of all like everything in the orb that the government has, because it was missing from the ship. So after he leaves, a robot assassin has arrived, and he uses like a similar heat vision that destroys the satellite, seemingly killing Luthor, as it seems. But at the same time, this happens. We got Steve Trevor showing the satellite footage of the explosion, and the last person that visited Luthor was Superman. So now Waller had tells Steve and a lot of the like troops to like activate Project Fair Play, which consists of troops and vehicles armed with energy weapons powered by the Red Soul energy that can weaken Superman. Basically, his Red Sun. That when the Kryptonians are not having the Red Sun, that's actually how they get deactivated the powers. It's a different sun from their hometown. So that's what happened. And then at the same time, we also briefly get the Wonder Woman origin story. So here, just briefly, it's just the new gods here. It's her getting married to the Darkseid's son here. That's Orion, another iconic Disney character. And obviously, you thought it was like it's basically short term. It was the red wedding for the DC universe. So that's basically it. This was the red wedding for the universe. If you understood that reference from the Game of Thrones, this was the red wedding, and unfortunately, nothing. No one was safe from that wedding. So that's what happened. So after that, Superman and Wonder Woman face the army while Batman stays inside the tower where he activates the force field, thinking Magus can clear the League, as it seems. And then this is where I'm going to stop here, where Tina appears and subdues Batman. I'm like, Tina, oh my God, the blonde hot chick that we all love came back from the dead. What is this? Is she a zombie now? No, she is a Terminator. She turns into a liquid thing. I was like, what the hell? She's a Terminator now? So that's what happened. So she subdues Batman before transforming into a liquid metal robot named I hope I'm spelling this right. Platinum or Platinum or something like that. Reviving Magnus with an organic nanite serum that enhances strength and healing. And then Magnus reveals that he had killed Tina in a fit of rage because he got jealous because Tina actually loves Batman because Batman was Batman. So she was in love with him. And so, Will, that's his first name, Will Magnus, was so jealous. He broke his wife, broke her head, and then he did the typical thing, the super mad scientist. I was gonna make her be my slave assistant, and so that's what happened. So she becomes a cybernetic enhanced menace, and so after realizing she was in love with Clerk, believing that there was no hope for humanity. So Magnus is the main villain for this film. So he's the one that orchestrate the frame of Justice League. He's the one that killing all the scientists, and so he does this by using his Metal Man. So this is what the robots are called. Just briefly, these robot scientists are called Metal Man. They're actually DC heroes. They're not villains. And each of these like metal people are based on like a lot of the like metals we have, like gold, lead, iron, tin. You saw briefly the like cute like Herbie robot that was doing like the house chores. That's actually the Metal Man character. And so these characters came from in the showcase issue 37, and they were from March April 1962, where they first appeared in DC Comics. So these were very twisty version of these like superheroes that I know. Anyway, and he's attempt to detonate the the nanite bomb to link the humanity in a hive mind, and then he will join the fair play for his resource to fund his secret nanite bomb project. So let me stop there. Let me go back to your say what you thought about seeing like Luthor, him talking about, say like Superman talking to Lex Luthor about his Kryptonian heritage. Now President Waller is going to send the whole army attack, the Justice League, and then pretty much the end point is the twist of the main villain and like why he's taking down the Justice League. Go ahead, that's the end point.
So this portion, I mean, getting to see, Lex Luthor, I was kind of thought he was a pathetic Lex Luthor a little bit, especially because he was in like a wheelchair type of thing and stuff like that. I was like, is he trying to imitate Professor X here? Like, that's what I was thinking, X-Men. I'm like, Professor X, hello, not Lex Luthor. And I was like thinking, does he really seem menacing? Doesn't seem like very menacing to me, with what's going on there. And I was like, okay. And then, telling Superman about how, things were hidden from him and stuff like that. And I'm just like, are you trying to anger him? Like, what's going on there? Are you is that like what you're trying to do is make him angry? I mean, this dude is literally indestructible. You don't want to anger him, Lex. So I'm like, I'm like, okay, all right, okay. And, basically, that was okay. It wasn't my favorite portion of the film, but it was okay. And then, basically leading into your endpoint, sir, with the twist and everything, I was just kind of like, okay, that's an interesting twist. I can go with that. I don't mind that. Seems completely logical in the bad guy's mind. But I mean, who you're dealing with is kind of like one of those things like you're kind of an idiot for messing with these people that are superhuman. And basically it kind of goes from there, from the Superman thing to them trying to, kind of figure everything out a little bit, and with that twist and everything. But I think it's interesting that we have, the one chick come back and she's some sort of, nanotechnology person. She can mimic her and all that kind of stuff. That was kind of interesting. And then, him basically making a full recovery with that injection. And I was just like, I'm like, whoa, that I could use some of that. Thank you very much. Can I get a dose of that? So I, in case anything happens to me, thank you. And, of course, then, finding out that they're the ones sending all the robots, stuff like that. But it was kind of, one thing I kind of noticed is I felt like from the get-go when they showed the origin story of Batman, I felt he was behind everything anyways. Like, it was kind of, to me, it was like very obvious that this guy's a bad guy. Like, he played that dick bad guy so well, like he seemed like he was the bad guy. And so it wasn't really a shock to me The first time watching it, when it was determined that he was actually the bad guy and everything. So I think this portion is okay. Not my favorite part, but definitely very interesting. Very does a good job of pushing the story along, and I think overall it's okay.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Cyber. Oh my God, this is my mind. Jeff. Jeff, you, Jeff. Jeff, you, Jeff. Tell me about your.
I'm Jeff. I'm Jeff.
Stop it. I'm sorry. Damn you, Morbius. This is driving me nuts. Anyway, Jeff S. TrueKnowledge, yourself, the co-host of MCU'S Legion. Tell me about your thoughts about Lex Luthor and the whole villain twist. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I already said, I enjoy Lex Luthor in this film. It's a good version of Lex Luthor, that they give us. I was surprised that he survived that explosion in space, and that was a really good frame job by Magus or whatever the fuck his name is. Pulling that off like he did, with one of his robot, boob tube people or whatever, so that was cool. And seeing the like Wonder Woman and Superman fighting the well-armed, like military and all that shit, it's cool. And like seeing Superman fight that three made up into one Sentinel, destroyer character or whatever, was really cool, because that thing fought Superman to a standstill there for a while, that was a good fight, and then when Superman, straightened it out, he beat that thing's ass, it was cool seeing those three, destroyer things come together and make the big one, right? I like that. I thought that was really unique and really cool, and Tina coming back as still like a a T-100 or whatever, a T-1000 or whatever from Terminator, like robot was crazy. And she's been like a robot for like all this time, the whole time she was a robot. Like when she got killed, she was a robot, she was in the morgue and she just got up and like left. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, bro. They went with that with Tina. I was surprised. I was like, oh shit, where somebody's body got up from the morgue and walked away. What's up with that? But they pulled it off. Magnus or whatever is a really smart guy. He's pulled it off. He knew he'd be all burned up and Tina would come like save him, so that was a master plan. You got to give him credit for the master plan, that he pulled off, right? To have Tina come inject him with the nanites or whatever, and or whatever the fuck that shit was, right? And give him super strength and make him look healthy and all that shit, that was crazy. I love all the Kryptonian technology that Superman has going, like in the Hall of Justice or whatever, it's cool. That's one angle of this Superman that I like a lot, is that she has that going on. That's neat. And Magnus's like robot buddy is cool. I like his robot buddy, Billy or whatever. He's cool. I like him. He ends up being a villain at the end there, and goes after, fights Batman and shit. You know what I'm saying? And like grabs Batman up, so like that was something else. But obviously I like that like the good guys win at the end of the day, right? I mean, other than that, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Yeah. Good points. Good points, everyone. You guys are doing awesome. 3,000 points all around. You guys are awesome. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the twist was not surprising. I mean, who else was going to be? I mean, if Lex was the main villain, I mean, even that one could have been like very predictable. So it was a cool twist because this side of DC is very obscure. The whole Metal Man, robots, they're the robot assassins and all that, and Tina. It's a very unique twist to these characters, so it makes a lot of sense. And plus, they're cool. Like the fact that they make them like very vicious killers is pretty cool. Yeah, so after that, let's get into like the finale part here. So after Magnus prepares his weapon, right, Luthor actually escaped here in the explosion. Oh, I should say now, like it's kind of obvious. I know, I don't know, you guys are into New Gods, so Luthor, I mean, yeah, Luthor, what happened? I, I'm not gonna question it anyway. So Luthor, was weird why Luthor. Like, I agree with Cyber that Luthor was going to be Professor X, but then when he leaves, he leaves with Wonder Woman. I realized, oh, he's actually this another character that they're referencing to. He's one of the, well, Darkseid is upset with the antimatter thing. There was this one character that was floating in the chair. That's basically what Lexus is. He's actually this another version of the new God character that always comes in and tells people about why Darkseid is trying to like take over the world, is because the anti-life equation. If you heard that like phrasing in the Snyderverse or the DCU, that's what Lex is taking over. So he's not becoming like Professor X. But anyway, so he escaped the explosion. Transforms in the middle of the battle outside. I love his his banter with Steve Trevor. He's like, "You stupid asshole! I don't want to get killed, but you should go and attack the real bad guy who's inside of that tower." So thank you, Lex, for telling this Steve Trevor that he wasn't doing his job here. So he tells everyone about the discovery of Magnus' plan. So at the same time, Batman frees himself, sees the opportunity to drop the Force Trio, which is good because after that, Batman's fighting Magnus. Wonder Woman faces the Tia. Then Superman takes on the Metal Man, aka the robot assassins, the three creatures that like morph into the like similar to the Sentinels, as Jeff you were saying before, like from X-Men Days of Future Past. And yeah, so after they merge into a single robot, they ambush him, and then after that, Wonder Woman uses a boom tube to send Tina into the sun. Brutal. And then simultaneously, Superman destroys the mother box inside this big ass robot. And then after that, before taking it underground and melted in the ground of the molten rock. That's cool. Then after that, the League destroys the bomb. And then after that, defeated by Batman. A remorse. So this one was stupid. Like the friend, the main bad guy. This remorse Magnus commits suicide. He didn't want to get arrested or go to prison as he should. He disintegrated himself with nandites. So he like disappeared with spark. Like I don't know what he did to himself to like kill himself. So he's dead basically. And then after that, a week later, the Justice League has been cleared with all the wrongdoing. So pretty much they're scot free. They're not framed anymore. So they're innocent people. So along with Lois Lane, views them differently. So Lois Lane now likes the Justice League. And then Wonder Woman decides to leave the Justice League to face her own past, along with Luthor, who wants to exploit the other universes after growing bored with this one. I agree. And then before leaving, Luthor gives Superman all the data on Krypton, tells him to be the real hero. Okay, true. And then the film ends with Superman and Batman deciding to use the data to help humanity. And that's the end of the movie. So, I'll start with you, say. Well, no. I'll start with you, Jeff. What you were laughing at, and then tell me about your thoughts on the finale of this film, and then you could go ahead. Let's go. But first, answer my question. Why you were laughing? Why I was doing?
I was laughing at a video replay of that scene where Ben Stiller stabs that panda bear or whatever in the jungle.
Yes, in Tropic Thunder, yes.
Yeah, they make it out to seem like he's about to he's like gonna have like stabbing somebody with a knife or whatever, and it turns out to be a panda. So yeah, I was watching that. And I saw that video clip, and I thought that was funny. Yeah. So besides that, this is a good movie. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I mean, you know, the way that they end it, with Wonder Woman going off on her own, like with Lex, to go back and fix her, fix her shit, in her past or whatever, with her family and the New Gods and all that. That's cool. I dug that, obviously Superman and Batman are gonna have to recruit and get some new members or whatever for their team. The final battle, as it was pretty cool, I guess. It was pretty neat. Seeing Batman take on Magnus, and win that final fight, and Magnus incinerated himself, with a nanobite bomb or whatever. I thought that was pretty neat. Neat tech to have. He disintegrated himself into sand, basically. That's all that was left over after his death. Thought that was neat. I like that. Then at the end, Superman says, "I'm thinking about getting rid of killing," or whatever. We're gonna stop killing people and all this shit. I thought that was neat. You see him evolving, into a better Superman, right, across the span of the film. So that's cool. All the the media and the government has to acknowledge that the Justice League saved the world, and all that shit. So that was all cool. Overall it's just a really great DC animated film. I really enjoyed watching it, and good talking about it.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Jeff. Cyber, your thoughts on the final part of the film? Go ahead.
So the conclusion of Gods and Monsters is pretty action-packed. It's pretty damn good. I mean, the fights between Tina and Wonder Woman is really great. I mean, the fight between Batman and his friend there was really fun. Of course, Superman taking on the Destroyers was really badass. I mean, he took a wallop and he still kicked their asses. I mean, when he got them down in the lava and he was pounding the shit out of them, that was freaking awesome. I loved it. I love how his clothes were burning and shit. So they were keeping it pretty accurate. What lava would do, to normal things. And I mean, when that thing combined to the three into one, I was like, oh shit. Mega Destroyer. And so I thought that was pretty badass too. I mean, this thing is very nanotechnology. And it just was a really great ending. I mean, lots of great fighting, lots of great action, great, final battles, saving the day, saving the world, showing that they're innocent. And, I think that, Wonder Woman going off with Lex, I was kind of like, they're banging. They're banging. They're definitely banging, she likes those bald guys, and I was thinking to myself, after the guy she was in love with got killed, in her backstory, I'm thinking, well, Lex is kind of a step up from that, he is very super intellectual. So, but, overall, I think that it's a very solid ending to a really solid film. This was just a really fun pleasure of a film that I think is just really fun, really enjoyable. I think a great addition to that great animated universe of DC. And I just liked that it was very different, but kept the same formula, which made it fun. So a really solid film.
Thank you. Cyber, that was awesome. 4,000 points for you two guys for tonight. This was awesome. Let's get into ratings. Getting back to you, Cyber. What's your rating for this film? I'm kind of curious.
I'll give it a 10.
All right. Jeff, rating?
I'll give it a 10.
All right. I was happy to hear that because this is a 10 as well. I love this movie. This was so much better than the last two directed animation movies. This is a 10 out of 10, folks.
Hey, that's something if Jeff saying a 10. Woo!
Yeah. I mean, look. I mean, I agree with Jeff. I don't like we should never give too much 10 out of 10s, but when I feel like one movie just hit it right, this movie did hit it right. We got action, we got suspense, like everything was so good. This movie didn't drag like the last two DC Avengers movies. Oh my god, they were like a slog to get to. Like, I mean, they had action, but like not like this. And just wrapping up before I'll give it to Jeff to like plug this out. I thought the animation was great. We didn't talk about that. I thought this was better animation than the last two, because the last two they look so cheap and like they look so like it's almost like TV. Here, like this feels like an animation movie, and of course, because Bruce Timm, he is an artist and he has drawn a lot of the like the DCA stuff. So like this like felt like part of that universe, but obviously it's a Elseworld story. So I give props for the animation. The animation was beautiful here. It looks great. It's so much better than the last two movies we were reviewing. So yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight on Justice League Gods Among Monsters. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Jeff, please take us out, plug us out, and we should be getting out of here. Thank you.
All right, great job, sir. And I will go ahead and throw it over to you, Cyberneticshark. Go ahead, sir.
All right, folks. So if you enjoyed me here on the panel or as a moderator, you can check out my solo content. You'll find me under Cyberneticshark on YouTube, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, X, Patreon. I can see there my most recent reviews are the Disney Pixar film Elio and the live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. If you have not seen either of those, definitely check this out. Really fun films. Venetian Scheme is a great film, too, as well, if you haven't checked that out. And also my trailer reaction of the upcoming remake of The Running Man, which definitely has a very different vibe than the original film, but still I think it looks like it's going to be a pretty stellar film. For my shorts, I think my most recent were the War of the Worlds remake on Amazon Prime with Ice Cube, and then, of course, The Naked Gun. I went and saw that last night. Really fun film. If you want pure comedy, that's this film. Akiva Schaffer did a fantastic job, so if you have not seen The Naked Gun, check out that mini review. Check out my mini review of The War of the Worlds, which I absolutely loved that film. I thought War of the Worlds was so much fun. Everyone keeps calling it crap. I think it's fantastic. So they definitely check that out if you have not seen it on Amazon. And of course, I'll be having more stuff up for you guys soon. More reviews, more trailer reactions. A lot of films coming out here soon. So you'll be seeing reviews of stuff coming out soon. And all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, thanks for subscribing. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for keeping watching us and keep watching us here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge and all the other great people we have on here.
Okay. All right. Andres, the pop culture guy. Here you go, sir.
Yeah.
There you are.
Thank you, sir. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight on this awesome DCAU top 10 movie, of course, Justice League Gods Among Monsters. So recently, I just posted my Memento Retrospective Chance review. It should be there, or I guess I need to close out to see it right there. But you can check out the other stuff like the 25th anniversary review I did, the USS Indianapolis speech from Draws. You can check out my part 2 of Superman / Fantastic Four. That's the comic crossover to honor the big two, comic movies that came out in July. In shorts, I already reviewed 2 of Christopher Nolan's movies. I did a short review on Memento and Batman Begins, so you can check that out. Plus, I did my season 2 Endor review, short review, so check that out. Today will be another, I guess, Fantastic Four clip. And yeah, that's what there. And I can tell folks that the next review will probably be Interstellar. So yeah, that will be the next review. And in terms of streaming service, live stream review is going to be this Sunday. Sorry, Jeff, about what happened last Sunday. So this Sunday coming up, it's going to be a live stream review. I gonna throw some movies to you and see if you like it from Max. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. It was a blast.
All right, there we go. Most definitely. And we are back again on Friday this week for Signs. That should be fun. We'll have some guest creators on for that. And I'm looking forward to it. It should be a blast. Welcome to the MCU's Bleeding Edge. We appreciate everybody out there that supports the MCU's Bleeding Edge. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you in the next one. Peace. Thank you very much.